Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the show, folks.
What's
Hey,
up,
hey,
y'all? How's it
Glad you
going?
could join us. Looks like we got
Hey,
a
Jay.
couple folks out in studio. We got
Heck yeah,
Adam from
brother.
Tech Laws. We got Jay from Get Hooked. We got Steve the Hooker Thomas from the Bearded Hookers. Thanks for joining us, folks.
What's up, guys?
what's going on?
There's
Well,
Big Mike
Yep.
in chat, Mike.
Can y'all
What
hear
I'm
me?
fishing.
Yeah.
Who's fishing today? I know. Adam was saying he was fishing earlier.
Yeah.
Steve was. How about you, Jay?
No, I was doing a lot of things around the house, man. Trying to get stuff cleared up.
Yeah,
Probably
you
gonna
me
be
both.
probably gonna
Welcome
be
to
packing up and probably moving.
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 Good.
Colorado, not from Colorado, but
I was gonna say.
yeah.
Looks like Uncle Don's joining us and Burrito Catfish Lady joining us.
What's up, Lisa?
Hi, burrito. Mike
Don?
Parrish is in the
Wonder
house.
how
What's
she
up,
did
buddy?
on her fishing.
Cool Cats in the house. What's up? But yeah, why don't
Oh,
you why doesn't Steve start out the day? I didn't even know you were in that tournament till like this morning. I kind of got a notification and I just didn't have time to watch it, and I kind of went through some segments just to check it out and see how you did. But you did tell them how you did.
Oh yeah. So I was able to fish the stand day today, and took second. Ended up with like 63 or 68 pounds.
Dang.
I think
Awesome.
first place was a 3-person team with like 170 pounds. But yep, me, the cat claws, and the guard dogs are at least able to pull a second.
Hey,
Awesome.
it's all that
But it was
counts,
fun.
right?
I had a great time. Oh yeah.
You said you just got carp, bro?
Hey, it's Daryl. What's up, man?
Oh man, everybody
Yeah,
hide your screen.
I just caught carp today.
Awesome. Hey, we got on a carp today. It was about maybe about 10 inches.
Yeah, I seen that. It's like, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to
Yeah,
keep
it's
that
pretty-
thing so bad for some live bait, but unfortunately, I'm not going catfishing until Friday, so I didn't. And it's illegal to transport bait.
Ah,
Just vacuum seal it.
I can't. I got to use that live bait. But yeah. That was
How's
fun.
everybody doing tonight?
Good,
well,
good. How
I
you doing?
have to fix my phone a little
Did
bit.
you?
It kind of broke. 'Cause I seen Daryl
Yeah.
coming in. How you doing, Daryl? How you feeling, brother?
I am doing great. I actually got company. Time got away from me. I invited some folks over for company, and I fixed some gumbo, and we ate that. So, man, alive! I looked down, and then actually I didn't look down. Randy goes, "Are you coming?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming." So I apologize, folks. Hello,
We'll be
everybody out
there.
there in the chat. What's up?
what's in your gumbo, Daryl? Is it like shrimp or what is it?
No, I do like a sausage gumbo with rice and bell peppers and Cajun sausage, onions. It's just a bunch of different stuff,
Sounds
spices.
nummy.
Man, it's good. Yep. So I hadn't done one in a long time, so I said, let's make a gumbo. So did
Well, what are we
that.
talking about tonight, guys? What are we talking about? The ways we like to use the guard dogs or what? I
The
think that's
ways
the
we
topic.
use our guard dogs. I use mine to bite.
You know, I was talking to Adam before the show and it was a weird kind of Friday for us fishing. I couldn't get anything to even bite my normal rig, which is like a 20-pound braid Carolina to a swivel, and then I use like, I don't know, 12-pound fluoro. like nothing touched it. So just for fun, I was going after bluegills on a little 36-inch dock runner, little mini rod that I had like the factory reel on. I think it's 4-pound test to be honest. But anyways, I tied on a swivel and I was using Snell tied hooks, Eagle Claw. They're out of here in Denver. And I was just casting that out with no weights. And I caught all my fish off that rod, dude. I'm talking 2 bass, a bunch of bluegill, a perch, and even a pike. I think I posted that picture of a pike earlier. So I don't know. Maybe they just wanted something more subtle. So I didn't really get too much guard
That's a
dog
nice
action
one.
this week. Yeah. But what about you, Steve? How was yours set up when you went for that tournament? How were you using your guard dog? Did you have a certain way you had it hooked up? What would you like to do?
Steve?
You asking me?
Yeah,
He froze.
I know. I'm like, did internet freeze or was that just normal?
He's sitting there going,
Yeah, mine's kind of like, mm-hmm. No, I used my guard dog today, and it caught a whole bunch of them every time I turned around to bait something else. I mean, dude, them things are. Sometimes you just got to make it a little lighter for them. But dude, I just adjust to the fish, and it seemed to work out all right.
So what kind
The
of fish
best
are
way
going
you
for
can run
today?
it, in my own personal opinion, is hooking that up to a cat claw.
What were you
Yeah.
catching today? Cats or carp or what were you catching? You guys hear me?
I'm
Okay?
catching carp,
He was catching carp today.
Yep.
Was it?
a whole bunch of them.
What do you like to have some slack line in it then, or do you just kind of keep the tension tight?
No, I just keep it tight, hoping that I can get as much of a hair trigger as possible. So as soon as they take it, it hits them. But there has been times that, like you said, carp just like to pick it up and drop it. And a lot of times that will kind of go slack. I just try to finesse it just enough. You'll watch me a lot on the, excuse me, on the videos. I'll drop down and kind of just twist it a little bit with them. And all I'm doing is trying to eat up that slack. And as soon as I do, bam, it'll trigger that guard dog. I mean, that one video with doubles, prime example. I'm just setting it up, pulling it up, and bam, it'll just take it.
What setting do you usually have
They
it
don't
at?
gotta worry about it. They're on there for good.
What setting do you like to go
I
with?
use probably like about 3 from the lowest one you can get.
so that'd
Hold
be,
on, let me grab my stuff. Hold on, I'll show you.
that'd be in the middle.
Yeah, just about the middle. Is that what everyone pretty much uses, the middle to start?
That's where I start out with. And
I've
then,
been. Well, go ahead. I'll explain how I kind of do stuff.
no, go ahead.
Oh, well, I've been kind of, dabbling in the bait fishing with the guard dogs, and the twos are awesome for that. The guard dog twos. So what I did, I have like a double knot system on one of mine. It works awesome. It's loose, really loose, but I'll cast it out. And since I'm trying to catch something that's really, we're catching bullheads, some are 5 inches, like tiny. So it's impossible to get sometimes even the guard dog to trigger. So what I've been doing is I made this one that's loose, and it just stays loose. You can't really tighten it down anymore. But I'll set it, once I cast it out, I set it up a little bit heavier. Then I can put my reel in the slack line, because if I put it light right away, it'll sometimes pop trying to tighten that line up. So it's just really easy. Once you get it all the line slack out, I can just easily, slowly move it to it where it's just like you touch it and it will just flop off. And man, I had on one of the videos on Facebook, my kid, he caught one that was probably 4-inch bullhead, like, and right on that setting where I could just get it where it just barely moved and it popped off. And that's how I've been just doing a lot of experiment with the bait fishing. We have a blast doing it because it's just nonstop and it's fun to do.
I like that idea. I'm gonna have to try that.
I haven't gotten on like catfish lately. I went out Friday night and we didn't get one bite. So the rivers are really high where we catfish. So we've been just kind of just doing a lot of the bait fishing. We've had a blast doing it, and it's just nonstop action. So yeah.
Nice.
I think it works hard. Well, I'm not going to. I think everywhere right now is pretty hard to catch fish with the heat it is. I couldn't tell you because I haven't fished in 3 weeks because my situations going on with my boat, my health, which was my shoulder, my wrist, and everything.
How's your wrist doing? Is your wrist getting any better?
It's doing better. It's doing a lot better. My shoulders, actually, I'm going to probably have to go get an MRI.
Oh, no.
I know I've torn that rotary cup because I can't raise it past right there.
Yep. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. That ain't
Yeah.
good.
I'm going to try to keep my arm in a cast all the time after this.
You're just going to have to learn how to cast and switch over to left hand or something.
I've learned to throw out sideways, so
right.
You should get those. You should get those mechanisms. It's kind of like a potato gun where it launches the bait out for you.
Yeah, there you go. All
right, Steve. Looks like you're back, brother. What are you going to show us?
A drone.
Yeah, we'll get Daryl a drone so he can take his line out.
Hey, so on mine, like for carp, so I'm just running it on about 3 up, but as for ice fishing, I'll take that all the way down. But it all depends on which rod I'm using, because if they're way noodly, you want to try to put it a little tighter just so it'll help hold it and make a nicer set. But for the most part, it's right around 2 or 3 is my most. But I found another little trick, and this works if you put a bell on it. But sometimes you'll get in here. This one's got a double knot, so it doesn't slide. But my other one just has a regular. But if you take a paper clip, put a little bell on the bottom, you can slide it right into that hole. And that helps it from sliding it. And you can put one on the top hole too to keep you right in the exact same spot. In the same spot. But it puts the little bells on it just enough so when it bounces, it'll ring it. Then you can watch it just as it drops off. But been messing with that a little bit, and that's been it helped my nephews because theirs would slide, and the next thing you know, they've got it set up like this. So, I mean, nothing was taking it off. But once we put a little cheater on there for them, man, every time they could just set it up, set it off. We didn't have any problems with it after that. So that was just a cool little idea. It actually kind of works.
Yep.
What about you, Jay? I see you playing around with yours. I know you like to use that boat swivel pole attachment thing.
First, I get my cat claw, stake it into the ground. I have the boat swivel right here. If y'all can see it, right here. I attach my carabiner to the boat swivel. That way, whatever way, I have it tight right now. So I attach my guard dog. If y'all can see that right there. Attach my guard dog to it. Set my poles up. I like to go more right in the middle of it. Like right in the middle, I leave it slacked so I'm able to slide it. But it also, the tension, it gets tighter once it stays there. But I'm more of like, if in windy conditions, I like to be up here in the high, maybe like just the third on the high side. But when it's like not windy conditions, I like to put it right on the low, in between the middle and the third dot right here on the low side.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a question here that you guys on your boat could probably answer this question.
It absolutely will at times. If you got a lot of boat traffic and you've got those guys that do the wake boats, I mean, yeah, it's going to set them off. There's no way you're going to not do that, especially if you're running a lot of lead. I mean, cause here's the thing: it is you want these things to go off when they get hit, so you can't set them up so hard that when you get one of those big white boats that throw a 2-foot wake at you, most of the time you're going to set them off. But like I say, they're not hard to reset back up. But yeah, I've had that happen. I set mine. I'm like they are. I set mine in the middle most of the time. The number one thing to remember though is whether to use a Pro or a Pro 2. And because I found out, I was like, I'm going to use all the Pro 2s for now, and they're going to work just the same. But I found out if you got a big eye and you use the Pro 2 on there, it's way easier to set off. So you got to decide what you have. If you have the big eye at the end, you're going to want to use, and I don't see where I've got any. You're going to want to use the Pro, the regular Pro, where it goes in there a little further, and they won't set off near as bad. But if you, I thought I was smart and was going to use just the Pro 2s in all of my rods, and I was like, no, that didn't work because it's just too easy whenever you got a big eye with the Pro 2. But that it's not as easy as you think it is when a boat goes by, but it will happen. I've had it where a big wind blow my boat totally sideways and it sets them off. So there's just times, people, that you can't use these, and we're all aware of that. But 90% of the time, you're not going to have that happen. So if you're having big boats come by all the time, by all means, you're probably not going to mess with them, setting them off all the time. But 90% of the time, you'll be okay with it.
I think there's more when you look at the bank fishing and then the boat fishing with the guard dogs. There's a lot more variables you got to take in consideration with the boats. I do a lot of bank fishing. When I set them for catfishing on the bank, I usually set them like one notch up from the middle, so a little bit heavier, just because I want to get that takedown and ensure, like, sometimes because I'm running 8 to 12 odd hooks, so if a small fish comes along, flathead or channel cat comes along and grabs my bait, sometimes they don't get that whole bait in their mouth. So I wanted a little bit of push and pull where they can actually get that, or a little bit of time to get that in their mouth. Because sometimes, they'll pull it and it might pull it just enough where it pops out of their mouth, and then they don't want it. So I try to play a little safe on the side. But I've never really had them trigger as much on the bank, and I've been in some pretty heavy current. But yeah, with the boats, I could see that being an issue.
And if they're not slamming these hard, I can reach out there and of course I'm 6'4" with Neanderthal man arms that drag my knuckles. I have to keep them from rubbing the ends of them off walking. But I can reach out there most time and turn them down. Especially I've got my rods where they swirl around. And I keep it where I can turn them to a lighter setting or whatever if we're not getting heavy takedowns. Especially like wintertime. In wintertime, you won't have as hard a takedown as you will in the summertime. So they're not as active. So you got to do that.
I see on the boat. I think I used it once on a boat, so because I don't own a boat. I think when it was working for us, it's just like you guys are saying. If you got a bunch of boats zipping by all the time, creating a wake, you could probably get away with a heavier setting and it wouldn't set off.
Right.
But when I used it that one time, we were out in the middle of nowhere with no one around us. So you're basically vertically jigging. So you can set that sensitivity nice and, sensitive, because you're just doing basically an up and down, especially if you anchor down, right?
Yeah.
You don't got to worry about too much moving or anything. So I guess
So-
it all depends.
Right.
With on the boats, like if I'm on the boat, I'll be using like a 5 ounce, sometimes 6, 7 ounce, 8 ounce weight. So when if a boat hits, a wave hits you, that your whole line's going with 8 ounces plus a live bait or cut bait. So that could be up to a pound of weight and in total. So yeah, that can trigger it so easy, just how you have it set. But yeah, there's a lot of different things. Depends on what you're fishing for too. If you're fishing for walleyes,
Like
stuff.
Steve and I too, we've done it on the ice, and on the ice, it's literally as sensitive as you can get it.
Yeah.
Partially because of what you're
Right.
going for. A lot of times
But
the
I
ice are
want
going
to
for
go back to the
rainbow.
boat thing real quick.
Go for it, brother.
Right. But back to the boat thing, if you got like boats, so your waves are constant, like you got some jerk freaking wakeboarder always, but it's staying consistent, then you can just kind of make it a little bit tighter, so it'll help with that. But yeah, if it's just like the wind catches you, then it's kind of harder to keep it from raising up and dropping you. But if you just make it a little tighter, and then like I said, you just got to move it little by little, and eventually you'll find the sweet spot so you can ride it out and still be able to make it work properly and catch a ton of fish. You just have, the biggest thing with this is practice. Just get it, use it, play with it, and you'll start figuring out all the little sweet spots on every different pole. Every condition's different. Every time we go, we're like, all right, and I have to do the same thing. Start at one place and just work either up or down. And as soon as you find it, oh man, everything comes together.
And see, I absolutely do a little different than that. I will run my line looser than instead of my guard dog looser, just because if a fish takes off, if we're getting dips and stuff, then it keeps slacking the line, because I still want that rod to go off if a fish takes off with it instead of it not going off, just because I like this as loose as I can get it more than the tight line. But either way, there's no wrong way about it. I'm not saying that Steve's way is wrong and mine's right. Either way you feel comfortable with, that's what you should do.
Right. I also have another question. This is a question probably for Daryl. I know you guys like catfish and stuff and do drifting and stuff like that. Does it mess with the guard dog? Can you drift with the guard dog too, or?
When I get better brackets, I will. I got some cheap brackets on my boat from when I'm doing my suspend fishing, and I'm sure that's what you're talking about. And so when I'm about to order some more that'll be stronger, but yeah, you should be able to do it that way without any problems. Right now, I can't with the junk that I done to myself. Sometimes we think, we'll get this and it'll work, and it doesn't. So
right.
I'm all the time having to, you have to update. But yeah, it'll work. Now, drift fishing, not so much. If when I call drift fishing, we call it free lining, where you have no weights at all. It's kind of hard with that, because you're continuously throwing it out and then letting it drift in, and if it drifts down to the boat or whatever, or if it catches up, you got to re-throw out again. So that's kind of hard to do it that way. But if you're just suspend fishing, yeah, you can do it. You can use it.
So what's the best place, Daryl, to place your guard dogs on your rods, on your rod holders, on your boat? If you have the swivel, what's the best place to place it?
I run I can swivel two of mine out. So I run 4 guard dogs, and then two in the center. I don't, just because it's so hard to work with them to get them out. But my 2 outside ones, I for sure do. And what I do is my outside rods, I leave them down. I cast out, I bring it around. I put my inside ones, put my guard dog on, swing it back around, and then I get my outside one and do it.
Okay.
So I run 4 guard dogs at one time. The ones in the middle, I don't, just because it's just so hard to do it with those. But I'd say I still like them because I'm world worst to get bored and start looking at my phone, and then boom, I get a bite and I miss it. So
yeah.
Howdy, Dominic. Looks like he's staying on. He likes to use those 12, or actually longer than 12 footers. I think we all pretty much use 12 footers. He goes a little bit tighter, a little bit band on his rods. I mean, that's a good point. What kind of rod length? I mean, it's going to depend on everything. The longer your rod obviously gets a little bit wieldy, right? When you're trying to do the guard dog on it, even if you can extend it out, it just gets a little bit more wieldy, it seems. Especially if it's not a stiffer action. At least
like Don, Uncle Don was saying here, he uses a fast tip action pole, absorbs the motion more. So like today we were using kind of like an ultralight, and I found you need on those you have to put more tension on it so you get more bend in it. Otherwise, if you do it too, you don't have that much tension and your rod's not bent that much. It's hard to release it. So on those really light action rods, ultralights and stuff, I always put my bend pretty good on it, just so it's got a lot of tension towards it. So when something grabs it, it will pop it. If it's too underbent, it doesn't pop as well. But yeah, like you're saying as well, is it absorbs a lot of, it could absorb a lot of weight, waves and stuff or whatever. If you're, fishing those smaller rods or just a little bit more rod with a little bit more flex in it.
And I'm going to bring up something that people may not think I should, but I'm going to bring this up anyway. I know I've heard people say, well, I broke my rod using one of these. Well, if your rod has a bad spot on it, should be the only reason it would, because I mean, I've used this on all my rods, and you know, I'm catfishing. So if I'm breaking it, bending it down, just bending it down to put it on there, then you got a bad. You closed your rod in your car door, or something happened. It's got a flaw in it to break one like that on a catfish rod, because I've never done it, and I've got Uncle Lou's, I got Catfish Sumo, I've got Mad Cats, I've got Ugly Stick, and every one of them, I've never had an issue with that. But I did see somebody break one. I'm like, you had to have a bad spot in that, because I bow mine over big time.
That would have broken on a fish anyway. So Guard Dog probably did you a favor, right?
I say it because I'm the world's worst to do it, because I always say, well, if one sets mine off, if he's 5 pounder, I didn't even have to reel him in, because he's coming to the boat in the air.
Right.
And you don't have to put them that tight, people. Everybody out there in chat, I just do it because I love it. I have fun with it, you know. And it's hard, it's harder for them to set off if you put it that tight. But I just like to watch them go off. I ain't gonna lie.
I think the issue with it, I don't know if I can really zoom in with my camera focus, but
I'll get you.
Well, it's just my camera. I can probably do it. I just gotta adjust my camera here.
There you go.
So I'm just kind of giving you an example. So these, like, this would be like a top eyelet. I have some eyelets that are so small. You can get them in there, but once you get them in there and they go down too far and you get a hit, that thing is just going to rip on your rod and it's not going to come out. So you got to be careful with your eyelets. Like most of us say, it's like 98% of rods, work for either the Guard Dog original, the Pro, and then the Guard Dog 2, which this is, it's got a little bit smaller nose. But you got to look at your eyelets and adjust accordingly for the size of the Guard Dog nose. Some eyelets might not work. I have one rod that I just can't use it with because it's just a really small ultralight, but it's just not doable. I could shave it down on the ultralight, so this would be a little bit thinner of a nose, but I just haven't done that. And I just use my other rods. It's not a big deal for me. But you just gotta go ahead.
No, finish off.
You just got to look at your eyelets, and there might be a few rods out there that just don't work, and that's just like with any other product. There's always variations of things that might not work for you, and there's some that most of them will. But you got to just take care of, check out on your eyelets and make sure you got some good ones that are wide enough, and you'll be all good. But yeah, it's about 98% on either or side of the Guard Dog Pro 2 or the Pro 1s.
What I wanted to say, guys, is when I first started with the Guard Dog, I intentionally bought just about every rod I could afford on the market, just to try it with different ones. And part of it was because I wanted to do video reviews of all these new rods, right, for fun. And I'll tell you right now, the majority of them, yes, are going to fit, but fit isn't the main concern here. It's the rotation. So there's the hook. And there's your eyelet. Just because it fits doesn't mean it's going to work with it. It has to fully rotate, because that's what sets it off, right? So just because it fits does not going to say, hey, now this is going to be perfect. This is going to work. I've had rods where they fit, but because the rotation, it would hit the top of the eye, and then the rod's just pulling, like Adam was saying. So when you guys get it, if you want to know if it's going to work for your rod, get the hook, put it in the top eyelet, and see if it fully rotates in and out. If that does it, you're good to go. It's usually that. That's why in our first Guard Dog, not the Pro 1, there we have a tutorial on how to cut it shorter, because it wasn't the diameter of the hook, it was the length of the hook. It would hit the top of the eyelet. So by cutting it shorter, it would clear. So if you're new to this, guys, get your Guard Dog, put in the top eyelet. It should fully rotate without hanging on the eyelet. If it hangs on the eyelet, it's not going to work. You can maybe try doing the tutorial that Adam did about cutting it shorter, but it's not so much the diameter that's the problem. It's the length of the hook that's catching on the top of it.
Right.
And while we're talking about this, if you're new, guys, your rod should be as vertical as possible. because what you're doing is you're building up the tension in the rod with the guard dog. If you mount your rod like this and then try to build up tension, I mean, it's not going to be that effective. You should try to get your rod as close to possible, especially on the bank for up and down. And
Yep.
then when the tension gets taken up in that, now when it gets set off, it's hooking. So I've
Yeah.
seen those two mistakes of, people
Yeah.
not going as vertical as possible, trying to go at an angle like you're doing on normal bank fishing. You got to go up and down. And then once again, it's the rotation of the top eyelet. So those are two things that I see
also
mistakes a
seen-
lot.
And what could probably cause of messing up your rod is the bend. Guys. The bend. You don't want your guard dog to be like that. You want your guard dog to be at least about here. That way you're not putting all that tension towards the backbone of your rod. So when you set that guard dog in there, you just set it in there. See, I can set it in this this ugly stick of what is it, the Dock Demon or whatever, the
Yeah, that ain't going to break though. It's an ugly stick, man.
yeah, it's not
You
gonna
can
break.
bend that in
Yeah,
half.
but what I'm saying is like you also have to like
Right.
feel for your rods of like your bend. Like I
Sure.
like to use 7.6 medium heavy rods, and they work perfectly. But
Yeah.
when you put too much tension on that rod, that's going to cause that rod to start, getting that shape and staying into that shape, and you're going to be like, "Why is my rod breaking?"
Yeah, I've broken rods without a guard dog. Everybody has,
Yeah,
right?
me too. Yep.
I mean, come on.
all
There's
have.
breaking points to just about every rod, and the cheaper ones break more often. That's just the way it is, right?
Don't
You know what I mean? So
True.
if you get a cheap old rod and you do like Jay was showing you bending it past 45 and it breaks,
Exactly.
it's going to break without the guard dog. So don't-
right.
I mean, come on. You got to get just the best equipment you can afford, and then use it properly, right?
Don't
So you
buy
can
a
break it with any.
don't buy a $10 rod to put a $20 guard dog on.
Can-
spend a little more on your rod, because I'm gonna tell you something. I've done it. I've bought those $10 Walmart rods. Hey,
I told you. Yeah, I bought every rod I could see that from the cheap clearance aisle ones to the best
this right
ones.
here, I tried this. This is a Walmart rod. This is
Yeah.
I've tried this, and you know what? I've caught plenty on the guard dog with this.
but you know what?
Yep, I've tried.
Yeah,
I
know what you're
bought
talking about.
Zebcos. I bought Caskings. I bought pretty much every brand out there just to, like I said, to do a video review on it. And most of them, I don't have any issues with it whatsoever. And the action. I mean, we're talking about the action. You want, for the most part, depending on what you're fishing for, medium to medium heavy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that seems to be the most normal action that I'm using, anyways. Not
When
to
I
go
go,
into smaller
Because
fish.
I have the same one. I have the same rod. Hey,
I have medium heavy catfish rods now. I always ran them, but the ones I have, the new ones I have now, Twitch and Whiskers, they're a little bit stiffer than my other Whisker Seeker rods. So I don't put my tension on them too much because it's already stiff enough. So if I go, it just crank, and you don't need to because it's gonna have so much tension build up. So I do it like maybe about like that, and that's all I need, just enough to. It's stronger than you'd think, depending on your,
especially with the circle hooks, right? With the circle hooks, we're just taking up the tension anyways. We're not trying to rip it out of their mouth. So we're using circle octopuses, J hooks. We're just trying to take up that tension, and that's what the guard dog's doing. It's just taking that a little tension at the same time that they're going. So just a little extra.
Does anybody want to chime in? Because I've heard it like time and time and again. About bait casters, because you have to rotate your bait reel towards the water the opposite way that you would grab it and reel for it to work.
You just got to remember to turn it over that when the fish hits. That's
people say that hold on, people say that it's bad for your rod having it bending the opposite way of the eyelet.
Hell no, never
which
had
is
any
not
issues
true anymore. That is like that's false nowadays.
I don't see why it hurt.
All rods are built the same. They're just you can go in reverse. It's not going to.
They're omnidirectional, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
There's not an arrow that says bend this way.
They used to make rods that had you could swap it. So it's
Sure.
like you could fish either way. But yeah, that was way back in the day. But
Yep. Or a really cheapy one.
I've been using
Again.
them for two seasons now, and I haven't had any issues with my eyelets, my rods, or anything.
Yeah, Dom is showing a question right here, and I'll just show it. And I don't know if he's just playing around, but yeah, it's the same thing as your body backbone. I mean, you can still bend backwards to a degree, bend forward, bend left, and your spine moves with you. It's the same in the rod. It's in the center. So that's what the backbone of the rod is. It's in the very center. It's the core that bends it in either direction.
Mhm.
So yes, it bends all kinds of ways.
Yeah, my worst thing's not remembering to flip the rod over when I catch it. My worst thing is I'll forget to flip it over when I put my guard dog on, especially like when I first start out in the morning. Now, gummit. But nah, when I get up there to the rod, I look down and just flip it right up and cut real. And here's the thing: it's hooked anyway, so there's no, I used to run and rush and try to get to the rod before the fish quit biting, but now with the guard dog, if it's on the guard dog, I don't even have to run to it. Just go up there.
That's a good point.
You know,
if you're losing fish, guys, with the guard dog and it's setting off, because it happened to all of us, you really need to check your hook. Check your hook. Make sure it's still sharp. Make sure it's not bent. If you're losing a lot of fish with the guard dog after setting off, either you're getting a bunch of tiny guys and you got to adjust your setting a little bit more, a little bit stronger, or check your hook, because that comes down to everything. If you're losing fish.
Just don't buy the rubber hooks like Steve from Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, Steve can attest to this. Check your hook, man. You shouldn't be losing them that much.
A good thing you should always have is a nice like diamond file with you. Always, you can save a lot of money because when I first started catfishing, once a hook got dull, I just would like, all right, on to the new one. Now I can reuse a hook for years.
Yep, and the good hooks you can sharpen, guys. The cheap hooks you can't sharpen because they're carbon steel. They're made in China, a lot of them. But the good hooks, I mean, same thing with Daryl and I. We love our Catfish Sumo hooks. That's some high quality steel. And I'll have a small little, it's a hook sharpener file. And every time I catch a fish, I'll bring it in, just do a little quick 360 around the point. And man, that thing is tacky tight. And I know it's going to go right through. So, I mean, you gotta take the basics.
Hey, what size hooks are you getting, Randy, from that guy?
For the guy that
what size hooks are you running from Catfish Sumo?
Oh, you know what? I remember when I first started catfishing, I'm like, how do you guys use those giant hooks? They look so big, right? I'm so used to using like little, carp hooks, because all I did was fishing carp and then our bass hooks. So now like a minimum, bigger with hooks anyways, or many things is better. But yeah, I'm going at least a minimum of them, a 1/0 at least. I mean, because anything smaller than that, you got to use really small bait, and I'm not going for small fish. You know what they say, big bait, big fish, right? So yeah, I've gone all the way up to 3/0, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'll depending on how they're biting. Sometimes when they're aggressive, I'll go the biggest hook I have in my tackle box, right? And that could be a 6.
So I use the 10/0, but of course we're in a bigger.
Dang.
Yeah, you're going for those monster cats. 10/0 sounds. Otherwise, once again, your bait's getting in the way of the hook.
This is Daryl's style of hook.
Is that big enough? I can't tell.
This is an 8/0 right here.
8/0. I use a 10/0.
JG,
I go for 6. Yeah, I go 3 to 6 usually.
And then this one is.
I don't even have nothing that big.
Well, let me tell you why, guys. It's not that a 6/0 or a 5/0 won't catch because I've caught. Let me put it this way: I caught a 52-pound blue cat on a 5/0 hook. The reason I use a 10/0 hook is not because it won't catch the 5/0 won't catch the fish. It's because, like I said, the size bait you're going to use. I only, unless I'm fishing tournaments where I can't, and let me stress, I can't stress this enough, guys. I only chase big catfish. Now I may catch small catfish, but I'm using big baits. I'm using half-pound bluegill or something like that. So you got to have that big hook where it will hook the catfish while you've got the bait on there. So that's the only reason that I make sure and use a big hook. I've actually started changing up and found out it's worked. A couple guys fish with me. I'm using the sweeper hook from Catfish Sumo when I do my suspend fishing, and I use it when I do my free lining. And the reason is because it's basically a Kell hook that Catfish Sumo puts out, and it gives you a bigger area for your bait to go on there. So I use an 8/0 sweeper hook whenever I on my suspend rods, just because when that fish whenever you're anchor fishing, that fish is coming up to a bait and just grabbing it and going, and that circle hook works great. But when you're suspend fishing, that fish is going to just fly up there and grab that bait and go. Well, that sweeper hook, when he does that, I've just been hooking up a lot better than with the circle hook. So when I'm suspending or if I'm free lining now, I have swapped over to a sweeper hook, which is a Kell hook, and found out, especially if you'll use I use a bigger one. I don't hook them deep or anything because they're not grabbing it and swallowing it. They're coming up and they're aggressive, slamming that thing and then trying to drag it back down. So
Well, it's just like you said. I think how aggressive they're biting is going to determine how big my bait is. If they're not that aggressive, I'm going to go downsize, right? So I'm going to use a smaller hook with smaller baits, because a tiny little bait on a big hook, they can still catch, but I don't know. I like to match the bait to the hook.
yeah.
So if I'm going smaller,
that's
what I'll do.
When I downsize
Makes
the middle
sense.
that big at least, that's like, that's like a 2.
Well, you know what? I was just telling Adam on Friday. I caught a pretty decent sized pike, and I swear to God, it was on a I don't even know what size, but it was just a snell tied hook from Eagle Claw, which is out here in Denver. It's like ones usually put crawlers on, so you can catch bigger fish with smaller hooks. It just depends on what their mood is, right?
Yeah, you just won't catch them as much on a smaller piece of.
And the big thing for me too is I fish a catch and release a lot of places, where they're game fish and it's catch and release only, and I don't want the fish to swallow it, so I go bigger hook with the intention, like, please don't swallow this hook, because I'm not trying to, I want to release you when I'm done, right? I'm not just, so catch and release. If you're fishing a lot of catch and release, go, bigger hooks usually makes it a little bit easier for them not to swallow it.
And the guard dog does as well.
Yep. If you guys are out there, if you're going and you're doing suspend fishing, try one of those sweeper hooks from Catfish Sumo. I just found it out by accident, and it's really worked good for me. I'm like,
what's that? I'm gonna look it up to see what it is, because I don't think I'm familiar.
It comes only I've talked to him about getting some smaller ones. It only comes in an 8/0 hook, but it's basically a Kell hook, which is a bait hook. And you can get an Eagle Claw number 2 and an Eagle Claw number 4 also, Kell hook, and do the same thing. But when I'm suspend fishing or doing that, man, it's just killer. It's how much better of a hookup I'm getting now. So
I want to go back to JG Hills. He was talking about, for losing fish, the way you tie your hooks. And every time I'm catfishing, I'm always doing the snell knot, and it just supplies you with a better hook set when that fish grabs on, and it's gonna pull it the direction it needs to. Sometimes you can just do like basic knots, but they don't set the hook as well, and they do not sit correctly in the water. How the placement is. So that's always do good knots especially for catfish. I always do it's always a snell knot. I used to be afraid of it just because it just was weird. I mean, it's not
knotless knot
or knotless knot. I do put a knot in mine. Again, it's just insurance. But
right.
But I've only snapped one leader, but it was not due to the knot. It was just due to.
Let me show this hook that Daryl was talking about here real quick.
Yeah.
So that's the sweeper hooks. That's an interesting interesting bend.
Yeah. It just gives more of an opening up there to
is that like kind of like a hybrid? So you run it like a circle or Kell
style, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just call it a bait hook, but I mean, it's just you got to try them.
I can see that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. So the bait can move around.
put in TSO10 and get 10% off of that rascal.
See, I
$25
like-
or $18. Hey, that's a good deal because I'm gonna tell you, Catfish Sumo puts out a good hook.
So the hook, the only thing I don't like on that hook style is I like the little bend on the top eye where it bends.
Oh, little
I-
offset. I
And
mean,
if I get hooks that don't have that, I take a pliers and slowly
Oh.
do it. If you do it fast, it'll snap your hook because it's just the steel. The
that
hardened
makes
steel.
sense.
But I just like the bending and it works. I just have better success.
Yeah, but you're using a circle hook. You're not using a kill hook. There's a
I
difference.
thought that. Well, the hook he put up, I was asking, is that a hybrid?
It's a
or is
kale.
it-
It's like a kale hook.
Because
Yeah,
this is
I love-
this is a
Kale.
hybrid. You can use this like a kale. I can set the hook with this one if I wanted to.
A kill
You
hook
put
was actually before the circle hooks used to be. And like I say, they're just more of a bait hook, what you would call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that does look familiar. I've never seen that shape, not in a catfish hook, but for like, I don't know, like bait, like you're saying, live bait hooks have that, that unique longer, it's like a slower band, so the bait won't, so,
Yeah,
so the bait will clear the point.
Yeah. Can you put the hangry hook up and you'll be able to see the difference between them? Now those are my two hooks I go to, that one and the hangry hook,
Okay, let
which
me
is
look up for
like
you.
what you're talking about.
Sure, I'll bring it up here just a second. Man, there's so many cool hooks that I still want to try. You know what I mean?
I love the hangry hook. It's a good hook. Sharp. Oh my God. I love them, but
Yeah,
I
you-
can sit by them all the time. Me and Woody.
What I love about the catfish sumo hooks is that, I mean, they're so, I don't know what it is. They just seem sturdy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Sturdy as
great.
heck. Like you're not gonna break them, bro. It's just not gonna happen. All right, let me
Yeah.
show you this one. They're I don't know if they're a little bit shorter to do that or what, but here we go. There's a hangry
Yeah.
circle hooks.
You see, it's got more of a circle to it than the kale hook does. That's the difference.
Right. Yeah, they're just tough hooks, man. So
Yeah.
I love them. I've never had one even come close to even bending, and I've got some monsters, at least comparable for Colorado.
That's what Woody caught 101.5 on that hook right there.
Jeez
Look.
Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tough hooks.
So I'd say,
He does bending hooks on 8-pounders.
yeah, you won't be.
Oh, yeah.
You won't bend one of them hangry hooks, and I promise you that.
Heck no.
And they are razor sharp, man.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway,
So we're talking about what else we can do. How we like to work our guard dogs. I like to do the bill. You've seen some of my videos. I've tried the bill just about everywhere. A little clip-on ones from Amazon. I'll do it on the guard dog itself. I'll do it on the adjuster on the string. I'll do it on. I used to, when like everybody else, I used to put it on the pole when I started the guard dog, and then when it would set off, the bill would go flying, and I would lose bills like crazy. So I was buying bills off Amazon in 50 packs. But it's all good.
Yeah, I do the exact. I clip mine right onto the top here where this loop goes in here. I just clip it on here, and I actually put a little like a watch battery made by Patriot Ghost Floats. He makes these. They're meant for, they're like bait lights or bait sensor lights. So when you get a bite, it moves around. But I just clip it right on that battery or the bell because it has like a little glow stick. You can put a glow stick in there, but I use these because they just last longer, and clip it right onto the right here. And so when your guard dog goes off, you see that light just go flying. And I've never had it fall off the loop. So it's nice having that. And
Well,
like, my lights
The bill's important, guys. I mean, whoever isn't fishing with bills, I mean, it's nice. The guard dog is going to set off, by itself, whether you're watching it or not. But a lot of times with a bill, you'll get that initial little hit, right? A little bite or a mouth. And then whatever I'm doing, I'm on my phone or whatever. Then I'll look over because I hear ding, just a little before it sets off, just a little ding, and I just look over, and now I'm actually ready. So I love using bills. I don't need it to tell me the guard dog set off. I need to tell me before the guard dog sets off, so I can pay attention.
I just got a whole set of bells in the other day, so
I just go for this.
I'm gonna start using them.
50. I got a 50 bag right there.
Yeah, I buy by Amazon 50 bags because I was losing them 3 a day because
I
I
mean,
used to
I'll
love
buy
to
them
put it
every
on the
year.
rod.
It's like
Y'all
eight
gonna
bucks.
laugh at mine then. I'll be right back. I'm gonna show you what mine are.
While he's
go
getting
through-
that, I'm going to show this. This is my favorite hook on the Catfish Sumo. It's the heavyweight. These are without a doubt my favorite hooks. I think it's in the middle of what we've seen the other two styles. And like Daryl was saying for himself, Randy 10 gets you 10% off on this website as well. But yeah, these are my favorite hooks. These are my go-to, the heavyweights.
Yeah, those.
Heavyweight
That's kind of
octopus.
like pretty much the style I use.
I love them. Just love them to death. So,
Yeah, I like the circle hook octopus crosses. Them are pretty good.
I like the octopus, but it's mine are more of it's a hybrid style, so you can use it
right?
just like any way you want to fish. If you want to set the hook, you can. I know
It has that slight offset that you were talking about, Adam. Like I said, if you
Yeah.
saw the picture, I
So
love
you-
that. I like that too. I like the little offset at the
Yeah.
top eye.
So like,
Um,
yeah, if I wanted to, what I always do is just let the fish do the work and hook themselves.
Right.
But you can, if I have a little bite and if I want to set the hook and reef on it, you can do it with these hooks. I know like this is a Whisker Seeker triple threat. I've been using some new ones now made by Fat Cats. Same pretty much thing, just the same kind of style, but it's a great hook for if you want to set the hook or if you just want to let preload your rod and crank down on the reel. But yeah, just like your hook, it's pretty much the same kind of option.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting the anticipation is building to see what the hell Daryl's going to bring out on the screen. Man.
His bell
Kind of
system.
nervous.
Yeah. Let's just go to solo. I want to catch all the essence of this.
He's gonna come in like one of those guys with like 10 instruments on his shoulder and banging the drum.
He's going out to his boat
That's
to get
better
it.
than a Speedo.
Oh man, don't even say that, Steve. Some things you can never unsee in your mind.
the banana hammock.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Eric comes back.
Let's see it.
We've been anticipating this. Let's go.
All
Oh,
right,
that
so
guy Borat. Look at that Borat right there.
I gotta open them up. These are made for fishing, or if you get lost.
This are you going to show us some senior bells? Is that what it is?
Oh, the
Oh,
cowbells.
yeah,
Oh yeah, my
yeah.
buddies use those.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I don't have no little. That's what I.
Crazy.
I got sick of buying them because they go flying.
I ordered a bag of, man. I thought this is what you're supposed to use.
Oh, my buddies use those. It's kind of nice because then I can tell
That's
if
old
my
school.
rods are going off or their rods are going off because they
That's
have a little
funny.
bit different tone.
But them ones go flying, man.
You know what?
That's
And
what I like to use. I like to use
They don't-
these ones.
yeah, those ones won't ring right sometimes. You know what I mean?
I feel like y'all are thinking y'all are making fun of my bell.
Oh no, that's what I started out with, but I just switched.
Well,
to
Yeah,
the,
we all buy that one. That's the only one.
I switched
that
to the
the-
Amazon, the classic.
Is that the ones you got to screw on though? I hate those because it takes or those clip. I
No,
can't- I
these are
can't-
clipped.
All right, let me get to the solo because I can't see it.
These
Okay,
are clip.
clip. Yeah, I hate the ones where you screw. You know what I mean? You screw it to tighten it, and then you can't get the
Yeah,
net off,
tightens
and you're
out
fighting the
your
fish.
Yep. I have
Yeah.
a couple buddies that just hate it when you're reeling in a fish with the bell on there.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. It sounds like
Oh.
there's reindeer.
Hey, hey. So
Sometimes
we
you
have
can't help it. It's just your rod tip's hitting the water, and you just want to get that fish.
Right.
You
Show us that
Yeah,
again, Steve. That's the one I use. That's the exact one I use, bro.
Yep.
Buy them in 50 packs off Amazon. Those will ring with the slightest movement, dude.
Exactly.
With the slightest bite, they
Show
will.
them the other side where the hole is. You can stick a glow stick right in there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. So
What's going?
I clip
Right
on
there.
Patriot bite lights right in there.
Yep,
It's a
those are my faves.
You can put a light on there, and it's nice for at night.
Yeah, I
love
like
those
buying
bells.
those too.
Oh,
What the heck? What the
Oh,
heck are
these
you
those
doing,
don't go
Daryl?
flying like Daryl.
Daryl's out of control here. Hang on a second. We're missing some. We're missing some quality entertainment there. Yeah. Oh, look,
Fish off.
crazy.
Now tell
Are
me,
you? Did you take too much of your pain meds, Daryl?
hey, they know your business.
That looks
Hey,
like
my bells, I'll ring them where I want to.
that looks like
As
my
long as they ain't-
that looks like my rod. When
Going
I go
back.
to bed, I put about 8 of them on there.
See,
I put,
first
like,
off,
8
I thought
bells on
y'all
my
were
rod at
I
night.
bought junky bells, but now I've just realized you're jealous of my big bells.
Yeah, that's it. Let's see. JG Hill Studio says he has to take off.
Take
Thanks for
care,
joining.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
I
you
ain't
know,
never put bells on no rod before, and these look like they'd work, so I ordered them.
Oh, they'll work. They'll get the job done.
you know what I miss? And
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, there's things out there, but I mean, there's not the same. But anyone here that has fished carp before, they make these alarms that sit up vertically, and then when the line runs through it, it makes the alarm. So when the line is running, it'll just like constantly go off until you pick it up and stop it. I miss those alarms. I haven't found anything like that for
You can
non-carp fishing.
you can buy those that attach to your rod. It's just a little bite alarm that for spinning
Right?
reel, I believe it's for spinning reel,
Yep.
just the ones
I like it when the string sets it off as it's running, right? So you know how fast the string is coming out is how loud the alarm is going off. So I miss those.
One thing
I want to know if anybody else probably bought cowbells. He's right. I want to know how many out there in chat's got bells like what I got, or you
I
got.
got a
Oh,
couple.
Jesus.
I got a couple.
Yeah, that's like Walmart specials there.
I
I got-
didn't get these. Hey,
First
hey,
bands.
wait a minute, don't you?
Oh, I'm sorry. You went upscale and went Amazon. You figured out how to use that mouse on that computer
I did
thingy,
not
huh?
get them off Amazon. I went to the professional spot and got mine.
Cabela.
Where's that?
Bass Pro. He went to Bass Pro.
I went to the China Hood store called Temu and got them from Temu.
Oh, there you go.
Temu. Wow, Jesus. You buy it this season, you get it next season, or what? How does that work?
Hey, I got them in a week.
He buy one get one free.
You like sample? I give you sample.
You
Free
like
sample.
sample?
No, I got some of
You
them,
gonna
Daryl.
make it- Jay, you gonna make Randy mad in a minute.
No,
Oh,
that's
no.
not. It. I can see. You know, you have to really when you're Asian, you have to hear all the different Asian accents.
Accents.
And you know what I mean. And that one wasn't even close, so it doesn't offend me. That wasn't even close. I don't know what that was. That was all Jimmy jammed. You're not
forgot
going
I
to be
have-
able to.
I
You have to
have
work
one
on
more
that one,
thing.
Jay.
I have one more
Yeah.
thing that I do. Well, I've done to a few of mine. Not this one. This is the newer one I've been using. But I take fluorescent paint and I'll paint. Just don't paint your nose, but I always just paint
Right.
From here to the nose in fluorescent paint. So sometime at night I'll be running like a black light. So
That looks
it's
pretty
really
cool when you do that.
At night you can see the whole guard dog, and then on top of it your string you're using that will glow as well, bright green. I also bought some like
Nice.
orange string from the hardware store, so I got kind of orange and green lines, so it looks pretty cool at night. That's another thing for night fishing. Just easy to see all the stuff that's going on, especially your guard dog if it went off or not.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of tips coming out tonight. I mean, I think the main one, I think Daryl said it. Surprisingly, something actually good came out of Daryl's mouth. But I think he said something about it's just practice. You got to take your guard dog
Oh, that
out to
was
get
me.
good with it. See, I knew it. Steve saved us there. That makes more sense now. It all makes sense. No, you got to take it out. You got to try it. You got to try it in different conditions. You got to try it on different rods. You got to try it with different species. Because it's fun. I mean, I enjoy doing it with different species, seeing what the settings are. But the only way you're going to get good at it, as with anything pretty much, is you got to just use it a lot. So
Yep.
that's
And
the biggest
everyone's got their
recommendation.
own way of
Agreed.
doing it. It's not always the same. Everyone's got their own settings and own preferences.
Yep. You won't know what your setting is till you go through them all. You know what I mean? Go from heavy to light, try it in different conditions.
Have patience with them. Usually, if they're not going off, it's because the fish has not hit it hard enough to go off. And if you
Yep.
don't believe that, I'll tell you what, do. When it's pecking like that, and you're going, he's got to be there. Go up there and reel down on it. 9 times out of 10, you miss it. Ask me how I know.
Yep. No, that happens a lot. Well, we're going to wrap it up, guys. They're coming down to the
Uncle
last
Don,
minute here.
I got to settle we got to do another bullhead tournament. Me and my son went out today, and it was about an hour we fished, and yeah, we put on about 35 bullheads in an hour. And we had
fun.
2 rods out there, and half the time one was, not one was.
Were they bigger than the ones Dom was catching that one day?
There were some that were small. We had 4 inches to almost a pound. So.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody joining us today in chat. Appreciate everyone in studio. Keep using that guard dog the way you want to use it, because once again, you ain't going to find out what it can do until you actually start playing with it. So
Yep.
Anything else wanted
Yep.
before we go?
God bless everybody. Thanks for
Yep.
everybody coming in.
Keep on
Until
hooking.
next time. Absolutely. Peace out.
Yeah.